In the Bible, Jesus teaches a powerful parable about a man who had it all, but ultimately lost everything. It's a story that reminds us of what's truly important in life. Let's take a look at the parable of the rich fool. A rich man had a bountiful harvest, and his barns were overflowing with grain. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no room to store my crops." He decided to tear down his barns and build bigger ones so he could store all his grain and goods. He thought he had it all figured out. He would store his wealth and live a life of ease and comfort. He said to himself, "You have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." But God had other plans. That very night, the man's life was demanded of him. He had to leave behind all his wealth and possessions. And then Jesus asked, "Who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" The rich man had been so focused on storing up wealth for himself, but he had forgotten the most important thing: his relationship with God. He had neglected to store up treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not corrupt, and where thieves do not break in and steal. Jesus teaches us that our lives are not our own, and we never know when our time on this earth will come to an end. We must be wise and store up treasures in heaven, where they will last forever. We must not be like the rich fool, who lost everything that truly mattered. So, let's take a moment to reflect on our own priorities. Are we storing up treasures in heaven, or are we focused on accumulating wealth and possessions? Let's remember that true wealth is not measured by our bank accounts but by our relationship with God and our love for others. Here are 5 moral lessons that can be derived from the parable of the rich fool. 1. True wealth is not measured by material possessions. The rich man in the parable had a lot of wealth and possessions, but he was still unfulfilled and ultimately lost everything. This teaches us that true wealth and happiness come from a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment, not just from accumulating material possessions. 2. Don't be foolish and neglect your spiritual life. The rich man was so focused on his wealth and possessions that he neglected his spiritual life. He didn't think about his relationship with God or his eternal destiny. This teaches us the importance of prioritizing our spiritual lives and not neglecting our relationship with God. 3. Life is short and unpredictable. The rich man thought he had many years to enjoy his wealth, but his life was cut short. This teaches us to be mindful of the fleeting nature of life and to make the most of the time we have. We should prioritize what's truly important and not take anything for granted. 4. Don't be selfish and forget about others. The rich man was only thinking about himself and his own desires. He didn't think about how his wealth could be used to help others or make a positive impact on the world. This teaches us the importance of being generous and using our resources to benefit others. 5. Store up treasures in heaven, not just on earth. Jesus teaches us to store up treasures in heaven, where they will last forever, rather than just accumulating wealth and possessions on earth. This teaches us to focus on eternal values and priorities, rather than just temporary and fleeting things. These moral lessons can be applied to our own lives by prioritizing our spiritual lives and relationship with God, being mindful of the fleeting nature of life and making the most of the time we have, being generous and using our resources to benefit others, focusing on eternal values and priorities, rather than just temporary and fleeting things. Finally, cultivating a sense of gratitude and contentment, rather than constantly desiring more material possessions. Thanks for watching. May the parable of the rich fool inspire you to reevaluate your priorities and store up treasures that will last forever. What did you learn and what moral lessons can you share? Leave them in the comments section. If you were blessed by this video, like, share, and subscribe for more.